All right, welcome back to the Level Up and Live podcast. I'm your host, Sean Myers, and we're on a mission to empower business owners to design a life they don't go to hate without sacrificing health, relationships, or spiritual growth. We do that through accountability, clarity, support, guidance, and community inside the Level Up and Live mastermind. Today's guest is a powerhouse local entrepreneur. The one and only Caleb Moore is a devoted father, husband, and the proud owner of Stop Equipment, a trusted power equipment shop in Conroe, Texas. He's built a reputation on fair pricing, quality service, and community trust. He and his wife also run hometown Christmas lights, spreading joy one light display at a time. Caleb, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, man.
Caleb, take us back before Stop Equipment, before Christmas lights. What was life like for you, and what led you into entrepreneurship?
So, entrepreneurship started pretty early in my life. I dropped out of college. I moved off to Oklahoma, a little town called Elk City, Oklahoma, and started a little lawn care crew there with my buddy. I was working for a local church there, just wasn't making ends meet. So I started mowing lawns, man. I fell in love with it. And so it's really kind of my first time that I ever saw that I could possibly work for myself. I didn't have to work for someone else. And so I, long story short, I left Oklahoma after 4 years and came back to Texas where my family's from. And I started working for a local church there in Weatherford, Texas, and started mowing on the side again because I knew it would work. And man, it grew. I started getting lawn after lawn after lawn, and really got a taste of what it feels like to not live paycheck to paycheck. It was nice. It was nice to be able to pay your bills and not worry about the next one. So I grew it. I ended up buying out another company called The Grass Guy Lawn Services out of Fort Worth, Texas. And it all happened really quickly. I had a crew running for me. So I wasn't mowing anymore. I was just invoicing and getting clients. And then that grew. And then my wife came into the picture and I actually got paid on time. Once me and her got married, started doing my books. But that was my really first time into entrepreneurship is cutting grass.
So what was that spark? Was there a moment that made Caleb Moore say, I'm doing this. I'm making this happen. I'm going to do what is required to continue this entrepreneur journey? Was it opportunity for you? Was it a frustration from a job that you used to work? Or was it something else? What was your spark?
So, yeah, I think it was lack of growth. I had worked in many different things. I was a waiter at Applebee's. I managed a hardware store and thought I had made it, I worked for a company called Ready Built. I was welding metal buildings. And I'll tell you what, I went to work every day with no purpose. So it was like, I am here just to clock in. And when it's time to clock out, I'm very happy. But all throughout the day, I was kind of miserable. And so being able to set my own hours of working, which most people say, I quit an 8-hour job a day to go work 15, 16 hours a day, but it was mine. And so I kind of had a sense of purpose there. This could be, my company could be as big as what I wanted it to be or as small as what I wanted it to be. It could bring in the income for my family. The harder I worked, the more money I could get. And essentially working for someone else, it just doesn't happen like that, at least quickly, right? So that's really kind of what motivated me was I wanted to be able to provide. I was looking at getting married to my beautiful wife now, Brooke. And man, I was like, how in the world am I going to pay for her for me to marry her? I'm like, how am I going to buy a ring? I'm going to buy this and that. I knew I was going to marry her. So I was like, I just need to work my butt off. And so that was the kind of my motivation, was just kind of to get financially stable on my own. And it worked out.
I think that's beautiful. I resonate with your story. So I don't know if you know this or not, but I used to have a lawn care company And that was when I really started my entrepreneur journey. When I was a kid in my teens at my parents' house, I'd always go out, knock on people's doors. We lived over on the east side, over there by the fairgrounds at Montgomery County. And I'd go around. These yards were huge, Caleb. I'm talking 1 acre, 2 acre lots. And I was out there with a push mower charging $50.
Yep.
But it was in that moment where I started my entrepreneur journey. And then we moved into a community, met my girlfriend, now beautiful wife, Kendra. And we started up a lawn care company officially in our community. And we built up 35 clients, and I was around 22, 23 years of age. Fast forward, going through my entrepreneur journey, really learning about leadership, marketing, sales, profits, overhead expenses, everything that comes with it. And then I started a insurance company. So my point here is the early days of business, entrepreneurship, and everything that comes with that is not for the faint of heart. It's tough. There's challenges. There's sleepless nights. There's anxieties. There's neglect. You name it. I'm sure you've probably experienced it. I'm curious with you, and I know our listeners and audience, because people listening to this are in different areas of life, different seasons of life in their business. So we all go through these different things in our seasons of life, and some are better at it than others. But I'm curious with you, what were the early days like for Stop Equipment in your business right now? And what kind of challenges did you face?
So, I'm very grateful. I don't have the same story as a lot of people that just randomly start a company, right? So my company has been around for 21 years. It was around, 15, 16 years previous before I even got here. My father-in-law started this company, and it was called Benson Specialty Trailer and Outdoor Power Equipment off of 45 in Conroe. Where the Crash Champions is. That's where he kind of started selling trailers. And then it grew over time, and it grew more than he ever intended it to. And he loved it. It was his hobby at first and turned into a business. And so when I left Fort Worth and sold the Grass Guy Lawn Services, I came here full intention that I was just going to mow. And it kind of didn't happen that way. He's like, hey, man, I've got this store. It needs somebody. Take it. Take it and run with it. And whatever that looks like to you, Caleb. And I'm like, man, I don't think I want to do it. And I put it off. I put it off. So when I actually decided that me and my wife wanted Stop Equipment, we kind of dove in, and it was slow. It was slow learning the ropes of new employees. You're in the service side of things. So we're maintaining equipment, and then sales. I think the sales part comes a little easy. It's the service part that's a little hard for an equipment shop. But man, there's struggles. There's still struggles. And I feel like we're a pretty well-oiled machine up here. Even when you think you have it good, it still stresses on you. I would say that being an entrepreneur and owning your own business isn't always the cookie cutter, face that we put on in public. It's stressful because when it doesn't work out, that directly affects you and your family. And it affects people that are working for you, and their families. And so really in the back of my mind, when I go home or I'm praying in the mornings before I come to work, I'm praying that God would help me to continue to provide not only for my family, but for families that are working here. And so we're also providing a service for this community. The people down the road, they count on us that their machine is running so that they can mow their yard. And so for us, it's more than just an internal thing. It's an outward thing. I want to be able to affect our community and bring joy to our community in any possible way, good service. When they come in, we have good attitudes. We have smiles on our face, and so, but I would say, yeah, it's stressful owning your own business and especially starting out. It's not for everyone. But tell you what, if you have persistence and consistency, you can overcome all those struggles and you can live a life that you've always wanted.
And just for the listeners and audience, I know I kind of jumped ahead there to Stop Equipment. Do you want to take us through that journey and what that looked like in your decision-making process because you purchased the grass guy and so you're growing and you were making things happen, and then you moved to this area, Montgomery County, and then ended up teaming up with, you said, your father-in-law?
Yeah. So my father-in-law started this about 21 years ago.
Right. And so what was that transition? What did that decision process look like? Do you still have that other company?
So no, I sold the Grass Cow Lawn Services. Funny story. I was talking with my father-in-law about moving here, because me and my wife were married. We had kids. So I was actually talking with my pastor one morning. He called me. We're praying, and he's just telling us, hey, we love y'all. I hadn't even told him we were leaving yet. And that was the phone call, I was telling him, hey, we're leaving, we're moving, and I'm selling my business. And he's like, and he's there, everyone's in tears, right? Because we built our family there and stuff. So he saw me grow my business there. So, there was some tears shed, on that phone call. Not even a full day later, he calls me and says, hey, Caleb, I have a guy that wants to buy your business. And I'm like, what? I haven't even posted it. What are you talking about? He's like, he wants to buy it. So weeks go by and I meet with this property management group, and I'm like getting my stuff out of my bag, all of from payroll to income to how much the trucks cost, and, just how much is invested into the company, how much we're bringing in, how much is going out. And, man, they spit out an offer before I even get my book bag out. And it's like twice of, of what I couldn't get my stuff back in my bag quick enough. I said, it's not what I was expecting, but we'll take it,
Yeah. Well, good for you, man. And I'm curious, just for our listeners as well, because a lot of times business owners, they get into businesses, and just for selfish reasons, I'm asking this question to you is, what's the reason behind getting into business? And it's different for everybody. Some because it's financial freedom, time freedom. Maybe it's because I want to be my own boss. That evolves over time. And what ends up happening is if you don't grow and work on the business and not in it, you become and just sign up for another job. And then what I have found working with 40 plus business owners and entrepreneurs over the last couple of years is that it's just that they signed up for another job, and end up burnt out, frustrated, alone, and they're trying to tread water by themselves. They isolate themselves. That is why we created the Level Up and Live movement. But I'm curious with you, why you decided to sell the business, because it was growing. You purchased the business and then you were making that move. Do you mind exploring that? I mean, maybe I'm getting a little personal here, but no, I'm curious on that decision to sell that, the why behind selling that, and then moving down here to essentially run another business.
Yeah. So, I would say there's a couple of things that, caused me to end up selling. We grew, crazy during the, pandemic. So, grew to the point to where I couldn't really keep up. I had to hire people. I was buying new equipment, and this was because of all these factories that are shut down. They don't have people coming in to work every day, maintaining their property. So I was acquiring all these, big commercial jobs, the food banks, the medical district, the, manufacturers like potato chips and Frito-Lay and stuff like that.
Wow.
So, for us, it was just kind of hard. Now, during that time, if anyone knows that they own their own business, labor is hard to come by. Good labor, good people are hard to come by. Well, I had a couple of crew leaders that actually left me during that time to create their own company. They didn't leave or get fired or for bad reasons or anything like that. It was actually very good that they wanted to go and be their own boss. So, and we helped them do that. And so I was out mowing again. And, I just looked at my wife and we sat down and said, do we want to do this, or do we want to sell it? And then if I'm already mowing, let's just sell and then rebuild, and that was our initial thought. Number two, second reason we wanted to sell was we were pregnant with our second child. My wife was pregnant with our second kid. And so, her family lived in Montgomery, Texas, or Montgomery County in Willis. And so I'm like, man, this would just be a perfect opportunity to get back here. Now, granted, at that time, I still operated a business in Montgomery County for Christmas lights.
Okay.
So I had a Christmas light company there, and I had a Christmas light company here, I started the Christmas light company here so that I could come and see my wife when we were dating.
Okay.
Gave me a reason to come here and not just see her, but to make money also. So, and then I could stay for an extended period of time.
Somebody's got to pay for that marriage, right? That wedding.
So I was like, man, me and my wife prayed and we decided, let's just sell it and let's move. And then whatever God has in store for us here, he has, and I started mowing when I first got here and it really just didn't take off like it did in the DFW area. So I think it kind of steered me in a direction of like, well, what does God have for us? Me and my family, let's try out, what we think he's trying to tell us to do, so some doors shut, some other doors open. And man, I'll tell you what, Stop Equipment has been the biggest blessing in my family's life that I've ever thought it would be. It's funny because now I could never see myself doing something different. Yeah, it's, we may do some seasonal stuff and things like that, but man, our goal now is to have multiple locations, this be your kind of your one-stop shop for mowers, all across the state of Texas. So that's our goal. That's what we're striving for.
I love that. It's such a testament to what your story is, such a testament to entrepreneurship, and I think it's important to reflect on the whys. Like, why did we sell our business? Why did we make this big move? Why did we open up hometown Christmas lights? I'm a why guy, and I would encourage anybody listening to this to explore those whys. Anytime we take an action or we do something, we have to explore what's the motivation behind it. What's the emotional compelling nature behind it versus a family member wanting us to do it, or our wife wanting to do it, or because we think we should, because of our friend or a professor or a YouTube video said that. No. That's surface level. We have to dig deeper than that. And that's what I empower anybody that I talk to. They always know Sean's the guy that asks, well, why? Why do you want to do that? And it just allows you to dive deeper because this, when the going gets tough, the tough keep going. In order for it to be sustainable, whether it's in 12 months, 18 months, 4 years, 7 years, 10 years in business, there's going to be those times where you get punched in the mouth, sit on your rear end, and what's going to get you back up. And I've been there several times, and it's always been the why that has gotten me back up. Like I shared with you earlier in the landscape company, we built it to a 6-digit landscape company within 18 months here locally in Willis, in my community. And I asked myself, why am I not enjoying this anymore? Why am I miserable? Why am I unhappy? And it was because I was focused on the money. I was focused on me. I was focused on my fears, which is creating multiple streams of income. That's what I've always been told. Well, when I reflected back and I realized, well, I haven't even looked inward on what's driving me to run this company. And it was in that moment I went out and walked in one of the trails here in my current community and I prayed to the Lord. This is when I started my spiritual journey. And it was in that moment where he spoke to me and I teared up in my eye. I'm a very strong personality. I don't tear up a lot. I teared up in my eye and I heard the voice and it said, hey, you need to sell this company. And so it was between that or partnering up with the individual like you that was really good in operations. So I declined partnering up with him and ended up selling it to him and moved on. And then that's when Level Up and Live was born. So I don't think Level Up and Live is here if I still continue that lawn care company for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That is awesome.
So I'm curious with you, man, we've all experienced these big growth moments in entrepreneurship and business ownership. What has been the biggest growth moment for you in business so far?
In business so far, growth would be, with Stop Equipment, growth would be, taking on new product. The more product you have, the more product you can sell, and then offering that to the people in Montgomery County. So we're actually in a growth spurt right now. So growing pains is what we call them, right? So
yeah.
In the mower world, what we do is we take on product, which may be, $100,000 or $1 million or whatever of product that comes in. And then I have a limited time to sell that product. And so if I don't sell that product, then guess who pays for it all? Stop Equipment.
Yep.
Pays. Exactly. So, I would say that, that's probably it right there is the growing pains for us. We want to grow. We want to have another shop somewhere. But first, we want to grow this to as much as we can possibly grow it and carry the lines that we want to carry first, and then be able to go out and expand.
Well, because you're building a foundation, like you said earlier, well-oiled machine. You're creating a prototype, figuring out what's working, what's not working. And actually made me realize, I think Micah, shout out to him, RPS, and you are in very similar industries. And man, I've just watched his journey the last 3 years, and you've plugged yourself in, been a guest at the Level Up and Live Mastermind group. And I think 2 weeks ago, he said he was excited because y'all were going to be doing lunch together. And now hearing your story about, service and figuring out that, tweaking that, man, he's the perfect one to lean on and solicit questions if you haven't already. But the more and more I hear your story, man, the more and more it just excites me to be on this journey with you and see you build in Montgomery County. Cause it's like, I tell everybody around me, man, it's like, I want to be able to, in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, go, I know that guy. I can text that guy. I can call that guy. So whether it's 1 store or 10 stores, I'm like, I know Caleb Moore, because it's not if, but when you get to where you want to go. You feel that?
Yeah, for sure.
I believe it, brother.
It's funny you mentioned Micah. Yeah, me and him did go to lunch together not too long ago, I think last week. And, I've seen Revolution Power Sports over there. I've seen his company and I've heard great things about it. Anywhere you look, hey, shout out to Micah and his stores.
Yeah, he's everywhere, by the way. And your urinals, awesome your people. Toilets, your
What awesome people. So no, me and him sat down, man, and we were bouncing stuff off each other. And that's what's so awesome about Level Up and Live is that, like, we're in similar industries. So who would have ever thought that I would just be randomly walk into this place because the guy who does my marketing invited me and said, "Hey, come in." And man, I met Micah. Man, what an awesome dude. Like, apart from his business and everything, he's just an awesome guy also. But yeah, man, we were bouncing stuff off of each other. I left that meeting thinking, man, I could do so much better in certain areas. Like, and I don't know what he left thinking. Hopefully it wasn't bad. Hopefully it wasn't like, man, I don't want to be anything like that. But no, it was a really good luncheon though. Yeah.
It's such a good feeling though, knowing that there's other people in your community, like you said, that's able to lean in and have that abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset. Cause I'm a little bit older than you. And then, I'm in my upper 30s. So early and often we were taught, man, like, don't cheat, don't help each other, don't lean on each other. And that's why I was so awful in school. And I wasn't academically smart, but I've learned my street smarts, and that's the best way to do it is freaking find somebody in your industry that's actually crushing it and go provide value, give value before you receive, take them to lunch, buy them coffee, give them a book, a pod, whatever it may be. And then it's only a matter of time before that person is like, dude, this guy's leaning in. He's showing up to the mastermind group. He's leaning in and helping me, sending me leads, whatever it may be. So when you have a call to action and say, hey man, I got a question. Do you think he's not going to pick up that phone and spend however long it takes to get you to help you to get you to where you want to go? It's not if, but when. And to me, that is what it's all about, is helping business owners and emerging leaders to design a life they don't go to hate without sacrificing these other areas of life so they don't isolate themselves. It would have been easy for you to go, you know what? This guy's crushing it. I'm going to crush it. And then ego, pride doesn't get anybody anywhere. And I'm just speaking to my older version of myself. Clearly, and I'm going to go back and listen to this podcast episode and go, who am I avoiding right now that I need to be reaching out to? You know what I mean?
For sure. I've learned very early in business that mentorship is so key. Even from my first business that I had started, it was called Moore Lawn Services. Well, actually, that was the second one. The first one was called Wilmo Lawn Services. I don't know why we named it that.
Yeah, it's an interesting name.
Yeah. And then, that one, our first business kind of failed, so like I didn't just start and business took off and was awesome and hunky dory. It sucked at first. And so we failed.
Why do you think it failed?
Well, I think that there's a learning curve. And I think honestly, I think I was successful because I failed. I got to see how not to do it. I got to see that the effort that I put into it, 100% translates to like closing jobs and talking to people. I wasn't doing that. I was like throwing a bag of pebbles with a card in it, up there. I wasn't knocking on people's doors. I wasn't, talking to the people walking in the neighborhood. I wasn't out there. I had I was wearing just whatever clothes, I didn't look professional. And, and and it fell because of that, right?
Yeah.
I was late on mowing because I wanted to go pick up basketball or something, and I was young at this time. So, the second one was more lawn services. And that's where it really started to change. And then I, of course, we bought out the grass guy. But I was talking about mentorship. The guy I bought the grass guy from never left my side. He went to my church with me at that time. I was leaning on him to start to grow my Christmas lights and my lawn mowing services, and he was telling me how to do things. He would throw jobs at me because he couldn't do them, and then he wanted a way out. He was older. He wanted a way out. So he came to me and said, "Hey, I want you to buy my company, but I don't just want you to buy the company. I want you to buy my mentorship too." And so that's what I did, man. It was the most incredible thing. He hated probably waking up and knowing that I was about to call him 20 times. But I needed to know, what do I do, and how do I do it? And why am I failing at this part, but I'm doing really good? Why are my employees mad, at me, and things like that. So he helped me through that. Mentorship is it's such a key to success. Find someone that knows more than you and that can pour into you, and don't act like you know it all. Because I'll tell you what, I don't know a lot of it, so.
That's such good advice, man. It's absolutely brilliant. And I know people are listening to this. They've probably already chimed off. They've probably already turned off the podcast. Because anytime you hear coaching, mastermind group, podcast, it's like woo woo. And until you actually experience it like you have and embody it, just like I have as well, then you don't know. And that's okay, because we talked about that all the time on the podcast. And I'm a big believer in you listening to this, anybody listening to this, you have to go through that pain cave. And it's not if, but when. Like you said, you had 20 questions for your mentor. Think about if you didn't have a mentor, or if he wasn't there for you to lean on. Who do you ask? Do you ask your spouse? Do you ask your kids? Do you ask your pastor? They don't have the answers for you, right? You ask. So my point is to align with what you're saying. That's exactly just that. Find somebody that is down the road that you want to go down. Clearly, this guy had built a successful landscape company, and you learned from the best.
Yeah.
And I think that's a key ingredient, man. You make a good point, and I couldn't agree with you more on that. I don't know why more people don't seek mentorship or seek counsel. I'm obsessed with it. Do you have any thoughts on that, on why people around us don't seek that, plug themselves in, get uncomfortable, getting comfortable?
I think really, I think I had to grow into that, I think. So I think sometimes it's, for at least men, it's pride. You want to do it by yourself, and you don't want to take anyone else's advice because you think you're going to do it better.
That was me.
Yeah. And I've been there. Still sometimes I catch myself doing that, and I have to stop and say, look, that's not right. It's not right because you've done it. And so, I would say don't let your pride get in the way of you growing and bettering every aspect of your life. And that's everything. That's spiritually, that's mentally, that's physically, that's, for your business. It's everything. Financially. If you can find someone that's been doing really well financially and go talk to them without them just saying you need to do the Dave Ramsey program, but actually dive into you and say, well, why is your finances failing? Let's just look at them. And not have so much pride that you just don't want to show someone your finances because you're scared that they're going to see how much you're making or whatever, you know what I mean? Or how much you're spending on your credit card or whatever it may be. But you just dive into it and say, look, I've got to fix this. It's not working for me. What can I do to better it? Can you help me? Asking for help is probably one of the greatest things that I've ever done. it's one of the hardest things I ever did too, but
Yeah.
it's so relieving and you learn so much, so that's my goal. I never want to stop learning.
And that's such a smart mindset. I know you're early 30s, and if you can have that mindset and keep challenging your ego and your pride, because we all have it, and just be a student of the game. I mean, John Maxwell, Warren Buffett, all these guys that are in their 70s, 80s, 90s, they're still learning. So success leaves clues. And that's what I try to challenge myself. And I couldn't agree with you more, having these mentors and these counsels in these different areas of life. And I think that's just powerful. It just speeds up that success. So sure, you can fail. You can make mistakes. You can go through trial and error and do it all on yourself. And you can go fast, but you can go a lot further and a lot faster with people, learning from people in a community, challenging you, empowering you, and learning from somebody that's already been, that can cut that learning curve and those mistakes in half. That's what I'm hearing you say, correct?
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
Well, what would be the number one leadership lesson that you would like to pass on to a business owner, an emerging leader that's listening to this, who are trying to juggle family, business, and purpose? What would be that one leadership lesson?
Well, probably something that I'm learning right now would be,
Okay.
You want to pour every ounce, every second of you into your business. That's how majority of people are always going to be built, because the more you can do, the better your company's going to be, is what most people think. For me is, do not neglect the people that you're working so hard for. The whole reason you're doing this, usually for me, is to provide for my kids and my wife and to build something. One day, I'm not looking just at my kids, but I'm looking at my kids' kids and their kids and their kids. I want to build something that's going to function beyond me and beyond my kids. And so don't neglect them just because you're trying to grow something so much or be involved in something so much. For me, it's invest that time. I'm working on that currently, actually, at our mastermind group. That's what I was, I saw
that accountability.
There. I was like, and it wasn't like, don't neglect your family. It was like, have quality time with your spouse and your kids, aside of all your work and the drama that brings, and you thinking about that consistently or constantly. So mine was find quality time to spend with your family. And I'll tell you what, my work has been, I just got back from New Braunfels this weekend. And so that was our quality time. And I'm refreshed. I'm ready to get back to work. We're ready, So, and that was my main thing, was like, that would be a main thing for me to tell someone that's either a new business owner or someone that's trying to grow or anything like that, is don't neglect the reason that you're doing everything for. So
that's such good advice. What you just shared, anybody listening to that, they need to go back and rewind that for 1 minute and listen to that multiple times, because what you're experiencing is what so many business owners and entrepreneurs do. And they pick their head up in their 40s, 50s, and 60s and 70s, goes, whoa, I've had a divorce. Whoa, my kids don't like me. Whoa, I'm 60 pounds overweight and I'm in the hospital. Whoa, but I have all the money in the bank. Okay, what's it all for? What's it all? And what you just shared with me is such a strong why. And it's not balance, Caleb. It's not balance. What it is alignment. You can still do the things, the New Braunfels, and be there with your kid, be present, and still run a successful business. I've done it. I've embodied it. And there's people around me doing it. Now, it's going to take learning from those that are actually doing it. But I couldn't agree with you more, man. What's it all for if you're over here neglecting your health and you end up in the hospital? Or you're neglecting your spouse? It just makes no sense. So I love that you shared that, man. One final question, bro, before we wrap things up, and I got to get this in here. What's next for you, dude, and your businesses? So you've got, exciting things happening. You got stop equipment. You've got hometown Christmas lights, and I can't wait to blow that up come Christmas time. There's going to be there's over 30 plus people in the mastermind group. We're going to all need Christmas lights. So we'll probably be reaching out to you. Come on. There's a quick plug for you.
Huge discounts for mastermind group.
Oh, there you go, baby. You say 90% discounts? No, I'm just kidding. Listen.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah, friends don't ask for discounts, okay? Friends don't ask for discounts. I support. I'll pay 100%. But what's next for you, man, and your businesses? Any exciting visions for both your companies?
Yeah, so right now I'm looking for a couple of good employees for Christmas lights. And so the next growth for Christmas lights is that I don't hang lights. Me, I'm to a point to where I have too many houses and I've got to hire some new employees to get those hung up. That doesn't happen overnight, and that takes some time, so, but yeah, we're just trying to take hometown Christmas lights to the next level and really start something really cool. Man, I love driving through a neighborhood and seeing 20 or 30 houses on the same road that I put up.
Yeah.
And then my kids just get mesmerized by it. I love it. I absolutely love it. So it's one of my favorite times of the year, not just because I hang the lights and do that, but just the true meaning of Christmas and the joy that Christmas brings. And man, I love it. I absolutely love it. So that's our next step there. And then with Stop Equipment, we're constantly looking for property and things like that right now. We're trying to continue to make our shop as good as we possibly can here and then translate that into something else. And so really our goal by like 2027, by the end of 2027, is to have another location fully going. And so that's what we're looking forward to doing at this moment in time.
Awesome, man. Big goals, big vision. There you have it, folks. If you are, please support, follow Caleb Moore, Hometown Christmas Lights, and then also Stop Equipment. And if you're interested in working alongside of this entrepreneur and learning from the best in the area, then reach out to Caleb Moore. And also too, man, behind the scenes, I'll have to share with you somebody that I don't know if you know him or not, but just I'll share with you behind the scenes. Don't let me forget that I think connecting you guys on the Christmas lights, because he's had some people that he's trained that might be a good fit for what you're looking for on that, brother.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let me know. Hey, y'all come see me. I'm at 4546 FM 1488 Conroe, Texas. Stop Equipment. Look us up on stopequipment.com. We're on Facebook. Also, hometownchristmaslights.com. If you want your lights, book them now because we're going to be so busy that it's going to take forever to get your lights up. So go ahead, book it now. I'll put you on the schedule and we'll get you lights up. So
if my wife listens to this podcast, so we're going to have to let you know. So to put you on the schedule for us. Yeah.
Just let me know. You can text me personally and I'll get you hooked up, but we'll talk soon about it. So
what's funny, but where it's July and my wife's going to love you because you're already talking about Christmas. And I'm like, it's July. I don't start talking about Christmas until December. I'm the Grinch, Caleb, when it comes
Christmas
to
in July.
Christmas in July. Awesome,
it's crazy.
man.
I've been doing estimates in July.
Holy smokes, man. Well, that makes
crazy.
sense. Get them booked up. Well, there you go, folks. Make sure you go follow Caleb. We'll have the links in the show notes for easy access on that. Caleb, thanks again for joining us today and pulling back the curtain, man. Getting super vulnerable on your journey, your story. And it's one that so many business owners and emerging leaders will resonate with today. I know you're going to help thousands of the individuals listening to this. And if you're looking for clarity, community, and a way to grow your business without burning out, come test drive the Level Up and Live Mastermind group for 30 days on us. You'll find the link in the comments, show notes. Until next time, level up and live and build a life you don't grow to hate. That's the Level Up and Live mentality. See you in the next episode. Thanks again, Caleb.